Trunk's okay here. Now, gentlemen, we went over the rules in the dressing room on the caution to keep the fight clean at all times, protect yourself at all times, and what I say you must obey. Good luck, Bruno Suarte. Touch him up.
Final instructions from Kenny Bayless. Settle in, folks. We got some serious business ahead. 12 rounds for the WBA Welterweight Championship of the world. We'll see if Margarito can follow up on his plan to start fast.
Margarito's got no choice. He's got to go out there and establish the respect for Miguel Cotto.
And we'll see Cotto probably move laterally on angles and try to make Margarito lunge at him. And if that happens, Margarito may try to land some punches on the shoulders, on the arms, even if they're not scoring blows. Try to disrupt Cotto a little bit. Don't let him get comfortable moving.
Well, you can see the obvious height and reach difference. Cotto, a natural left-hander, fights right, can bang you, as we've seen him win fights with just that left hand of the ribs. Good combination. A lot of speed there to Margarito had to absorb.
Margarito's the type of fighter who can take a lot of punches, but you don't want Miguel Cotto get the type of confidence at the beginning of the fight.
Well, Margarito walked straight into what Cotto hit him with. And now he's following Cotto. Cotto is going to try to set traps on him, knowing that the crowd is lunging, urging Margarito on, and may make him even more anxious than he already is.
Margarito can't allow Cotto to win the jab battle, not with the 6-inch reach advantage. But the quickness of Cotto is obviously going to be something to worry about.
He's just powering through the gloves. Good right hand there as he pulls it back. And that's when you think you've landed a good one. Cotto showing speed plus. And he has evolved as a fighter, guys.
Oh yeah, take a look at the good movement here going side to side. And Margarito trying to set up one big one.
Again, the combination from Cotto. Cotto in the past had been accused of starting slowly. Cost him that Torres fight. Now Margarito's doing what he wants to do to unload. But so far it's been Cotto's round one.
And Cotto's doing the right thing. If Cotto's moving to his left, he's setting up the body shot. What Margarito wants to do is move him to his right, so he has to pivot to connect with the left hook.
He does not want to be on the ropes. Cotto doesn't. But he has really been flashing some combinations. The double left hand over the top.
Well, he has to stand his ground early, knowing that Margarito is coming after him. And egged on by the atmosphere in here.
There were some good body shots. Bayless warning, but they were right on the belt line.
Yeah, it didn't seem to be below the belt, but a good start here by Miguel Cotto.
Good jab again, Cotto, double jab. Wow, he's looked good. And Margarito's going to have to, like you said, one-dimensional fighter. He's going to have to come up a little dimension and a half.
You can't just step backwards. He's got to step laterally at the same time, because that's where Margarito can become a dangerous fighter. If he catches you stepping back with his punching power, he can crack.
And his reach advantage. Round 2 scheduled for 12 was a lightning fast first round. Margarito's in the black, Cotto in the silver and blue. I think Cotto would do well to do what he did in round 1. Keep it up. Double jab.
You try to take the crowd out of it in a sense by moving and deflating the atmosphere a little bit if you're Cotto and getting your people into it, but he's being very cagey here in the beginning, trying to make Margarito miss him.
Good jab.
And this is a type of fight that Cotto wants, because Margarito, he basically nullifies his reach and height advantage by leaning forward, ducking his head down, and trying to come in. And that's something that Cotto's using to his advantage with his speed and proficiency.
Cotto's getting hit a lot, but then he's got Cotto on the ropes. Margarito flashing a little bit of a smile there. He finally got what he wanted there.
Yeah, but he ended up getting a nice uppercut by Miguel Cotto.
Right hand from Margarito. That's been his most effective punch so far.
That was a real good shot, too.
Cotto up against the ropes, and he's fighting Margarito's fight right now.
I think he got stunned earlier to the body.
This is Margarito's office right there. Step into his office, that's what you're going to get.
Even though Margarito might voluntarily give away his height and reach, he's still using it to bother Cotto because Cotto respects it way too much.
Double jab from Cotto right there.
Bleeding from the nose, Miguel Cotto got caught with a nice left hook by Antonio Margarito.
This is what Margarito does, tries to impose his will on you. Now Kenny Bayless is going to have to get in there and try not to get knocked out himself. And you hear how the crowd's energized when Margarito goes to work.
Miguel Cotto sitting on the
Good
rope.
left hand from Cotto. Good counter from Cotto there. Now he just got right on the chin of Margarito, a slight uppercut. Margarito can take a punch, folks. Can't emphasize that enough.
Question is, can Cotto go at this pace
Blood
during
from
the
his
fight?
nose.
And will we see him be a counterpuncher the whole way? At some point, we expect him to come out of this and get into a different gear.
The body work of Antonio Margarito in this second round has really slowed Cotto down. He's made him tuck his hands in a little bit, and that's been a very big difference.
Right, left, right, and then a big left for Cotto. And you get the smile on Margarito's face, which means that hurt.
And even though so many years ago it was, this has such a Leonard Hearns feel to it, both in style and how these guys are attacking.
Oh, there's not anything being held back. Cotto going to the body, then going back upstairs. Gonna go back to more of the movement he was showing in round one. Picked off an uppercut there for Margarito.
An excellent basket defense there. He brought the forearm across, blocked that because he knows that Margarito can go to the body extremely well with both hands.
Wildly missing with a right hook was Margarito. Accurate jabs from Cotto. Last round he got away from his lateral movement, and I think he paid the price. You guys probably have it 1 round each through 2. But we don't have time to do scores. They keep throwing punches.
Well, what's going to matter here is whether Cotto gets the chance to get in and be the lead puncher, which at some point in this fight you suspect he'll try to do that. He's playing the countering role here. The question is, what happens then?
Good precision by Miguel Cotto. I think that's been the difference so far, especially in this round. The fact that he throws a lot of punches, but he lands most of them. Margarito's looking to land 2 or 3 and not much more. But he's powerful, and that's what he's betting on.
Cotto needs to get away from that corner. Now he's turned it around on Margarito. Back to the center of the ring. You'll see this all night, as long as it lasts, for Margarito stalking, taking punches, trying to impose his will upon Cotto.
Cotto's done a pretty good job thus far in the fight cutting off the ring, which is a big factor because of the fact that Cotto is moving side to side, trying to diffuse him.
Beautiful body work.
We got a clash there. We got a clash there, and Cotto looked at Kenny Bayless. I think he took a head right on the nose, guys. The blood spurted out. Good left hand from Cotto. Margarito's still coming.
Cotto's doing extremely well on the move. He's moving well to his left. We talked about how important that was for him to keep moving left because it sets up his body shots.
There's a low blow. Warning coming from Kenny Bayless. I'm not surprised at all at the pace of this fight that we got one of those already, not to mention some head knocking in there.
It's what we expected. Both of these guys go to the body. You're used to the Mexican fighters being able to finish a fight that way, but Cotto's just as good, if not better.
Fight truly living up to the hype. This is not a ballet, folks. It's going to get ugly in there.
Really have established an excellent pace, and these guys have not been cheated on their punches, landing good quality shots.
Good combination of the chin inside from Cotto. Ooh. And Margarito answers by just keeping coming forward, and he took another one at the end.
When you've got a guy like Miguel Cotto who's not particularly elusive, but he moves just enough not to get caught flush. That's going to be frustrating for Margarito as the fight progresses.
Round 4, the first 3 rounds have blazed through. And Cotto's going to need those extra boxing skills to get past this guy tonight, because the indication of Margarito is he's not too concerned about how he's getting hit. But over the time of a fight, there'll be attrition. I guarantee you it'll add up to something if he continues to get hit like that.
Well, here's what we'll keep our eye on. When Margarito attacks on the inside, Cotto's been doing a good job getting away from it. Now the question is, if he steps into another gear and switches into offense more quickly, he'll get more power on his counters. He's starting to get comfortable with the style that Margarito is throwing at him. He's setting traps now.
It's excellent. But good uppercut right there for Cotto. He liked that. I'm not sure Margarito did, but that was a very nice uppercut.
Margarito's somewhat unsure of what to throw when Cotto gives him angles. He finally is able to land based on the jab going first, but he's not really sure what to throw because Cotto's defense is so solid.
What we had up till now is Cotto coming in, waiting on Margarito and firing. We're starting to see a few more times where Cotto fires before Margarito does after Margarito walks to him.
Uppercut again, that left hand uppercut. Margarito doesn't have a reverse gear, folks. So he may get hit, but he's going in one direction. And that's right back at you.
The only way he's going to go backwards is if Cotto keeps punching him that way. He can't keep walking into the jabs because Cotto follows it up most of the time like he did there.
That's what Dave was talking about. Cotto gets off first there as he comes forward. Now Cotto's getting more comfortable to fire the first shot.
You know, if a guy is one-dimensional and you keep studying it and you make moves against it, you try different things, you get bolder. And Cotto is getting bolder as Margarito comes to him and misses.
Misses wildly over the top.
You know, one of those things that everyone talks about is the reach advantage and height advantage. The one advantage the shorter fighter has is those uppercuts that come from down under, and that's what Cotto's trying to use to his advantage because Margarito's leaning in towards him and he's catching him flush.
Good round so far for Cotto. He's leaving nothing in the toolbox tonight, folks. He's got it all.
And if you're going to win the fight as a counterpuncher, you have to be extremely accurate, which Cotto is, because you're getting fewer chances. These are some very big uppercuts.
Landing a lot of points over there on Cotto. I mean, on Margarito.
He's undressing him now on the inside.
We're already into round 5. Seems like we just started, guys. That's what a fast-paced fight will do for you. And we expected no less. We knew what was going to happen tonight based on these styles coming into this fight.
People definitely getting their money's worth both in the arena and here on Top Rank pay-per-view.
Well, they are setting an extraordinary pace.
Yeah, we'll see how that plays into it. But as we've mentioned many times, guys, Cotto's demeanor doesn't change before, during, or after. He just seems like he was born to do this.
And that's why he can fight this style. He can wait for a guy to come at him, let the punches whiz by, stay calm, and then land his punches. It's a hard thing to do. Human nature says a guy's coming at you, you either go straight back or you get away from him, but he's setting up shop inside.
Margarito, a guy who tends to get stronger as the fight progresses. And Miguel Cotto, when he gets in deep, he's got 2 knockouts in the 11th round against Zab Judah and Octe Urkel, so he's proven that he can go in deep water and still be effective.
He'll go deep because he won't make mistakes. He won't hurt himself. Margarito trying to cut off the ring, keep Cotto near the ropes. Pretty good bundle of body punch right there. Better round for Margarito this round. Whoa, look up the heads and then off the left hand. That hurt.
Well, Margarito is pressing.
Yep.
He's pressing Cotto in a different way so far. He's not coming straight at him. He's rushing him a little bit. There he did not, though, and paid for it.
The 5-punch combination by Miguel Cotto just keeps moving, sets his feet, and catches Margarito coming in. Margarito has not been able to change that part of the fight at all. And it's been 5 rounds, 0 adjustments by the man from Tijuana, Mexico.
He's got to be able to land some combinations on Cotto, but he keeps getting out-quicked on the inside.
And what's starting to happen to him now is, even though he was good at cutting off the ring earlier, now Margarito is following Cotto. He's not cutting it off. He needs to take a drastic step to his right and force Cotto back a different direction.
3-punch combination to the head of Margarito. Now Cotto sits down the ropes and fires the uppercut. Boy, Cotto's coming at every angle.
Cotto's dissecting Antonio Margarito, who finally lands a nice right.
And he doing it as the counterpuncher. He's getting all this work done.
And missing again. Look at Cotto putting on a clinic. You can't hit me. You can't hit me.
And how do you be that calm when a punch is missing you by 2 inches?
And despite anything that Antonio Margarito has thrown at him, 6 rounds in, it's been a dominant performance by the Puerto Rican.
You call that a clowning, right? He clowned him at the end of that round for the final 10 seconds. And that's the supreme confidence of Cotto coming in. You know, tough and relentless is one thing, but you add all the skills that Cotto has to counter that with his own tough and relentless nature. You got a whole passel of troubles to deal with, like he just served up to Margarito right there.
Well, Cotto knows how to stay with the style. Countering is the way for him to go at this point in the fight, and he is staying true to it, trying to pile up round after round, not getting ahead of himself, waiting for Margarito to get near him. He can make the move. He doesn't make the move first.
Margarito trying to go to the body, had a couple go
for the heads.
Low again.
They are head to head. Whacking that uppercut with the left hand, which is Cotto's naturally strong hand. That's been an effective weapon for him throughout his career.
And Cotto's basically doing all of this with his left hand because he keeps that right elbow tucked to the body, making sure that a kidney shot doesn't get in there.
Margarito did land a pretty good punch there. There's the counter and the speed. Wow. Miguel Cotto, a fighter in his prime.
Antonio Margarito not taking his foot off the gas. He's in there, and you've got to give him a lot of
digging down.
credit.
Yeah, he's digging down, trying to get some. That was a right hand over the top from Miguel Cotto. And Dave, you know, you notice how he gives him angles on the way back after he lands the good shot.
Yeah, so you don't get caught into trouble. Now for Margarito, you know, there are points for being aggressive. If this is close in terms of punches, he'll get the round, being that he pressed the pace. But if he gets shown up, then ring generalship goes to Cotto. And that's ring generalship right there. Moving in and out, toying with a guy who's coming at you.
Style points, as it were. Margarito's thrown 4 straight uppercuts. Cotto stayed in the corner for a while, then punched his way out.
Ooh. Nice exchange.
Nice exchange. Oh, good left hand from Cotto on Margarito. Margarito's trying to make a statement in this round.
And you talk about a guy whose skin is made for boxing, it's Antonio Margarito, because any other guy, his face would be puffy by now, the type of punishment that he has taken from Miguel Cotto in 6 rounds.
End of the round. Guys, how do you have it through 6?
We've got a 2-point edge for Cotto.
58-56 here as well. The 2nd and 6th rounds for Antonio Margarito.
I think Cotto was making a mistake of being right there on the ropes in that last round that his uncle told me about in the corner. Not where he needs to be.
Well, it's one thing if you can set up office there and toy with the guy, which he's done and worked well. But if Margarito makes the adjustment and starts coming in at angles, then Cotto must also change.
Margarito's really serious here. He just landed a good right hand. He's trying to turn this thing around to his direction.
Oh, he's been serious all along. It's just that he's faced an opponent who just wants to have none of it. Oh,
Oh, he just got countered hard.
That was some right hand by Margarito.
Yep.
Needs to follow it up. If he's going to pressure and stand there, he needs to throw punches. Just can't stand there and be a target for Miguel Cotto.
Oh, he is doing good work with the uppercuts, even though
Cotto's in trouble. Cotto's in trouble. Those 3 uppercuts did some damage on Cotto, guys.
Yes, they did.
He's bent over, and now he's not moving as spryly as he did earlier. Big 7th round for Antonio Margarito.
Turned it around in the 7th round.
This is his chance.
Miguel Cotto's going to have to suck it up and find a way to survive it in here. He got caught on the inside, and Margarito's doing what he does. This is his chance, as Dave just said. We'll see what he can do with it. Cotto spitting blood. That nose has been a problem. Look out for the low blow. Kenny Bayless looking in. One thing I can say about Cotto, there's a whole minute left. I had the sense coming into the 7th round, Margarito was going to let it hang out.
Hey,
and it's worked out in his favor.
And this is going to change the way Cotto fights. Cotto's going to start getting off the mark first. The idea of waiting for Margarito has run its course.
Absolutely, because he waited and he got caught. Cotto, survival mode. Blood streaming out of his nose. The Warrior boring in on him. 30 seconds, an eternity left for Cotto in this round.
A huge time, but he's coming back with punches. He's not just moving, and Margarito needs to seize the moment if he is to take the title away from Miguel Cotto.
Good combination upstairs to Cotto. What a round 7. 10 seconds left. One of the best rounds we've ever seen in boxing, and Cotto needs to survive here. We're going to find a lot about Miguel Cotto right here, guys. Round 8 scheduled for 12. Staggered, round 7. Finally, Margarito unloaded those uppercuts, turned the complexion, the right hand right there from Cotto. Better movement here.
Well, Margarito threw an extraordinary amount of punches in that last round, 130. He landed 48. He outlanded Cotto 48-23. So now we'll see his staying power coming over after a round in which he did let it all hang out. Nice
Uppercut there by Margarito, and now you're talking about the effectiveness of those punches by Margarito and the fact that now Miguel Cotto is more static and he doesn't have that same footwork to get away from Margarito.
It's a lot more effort for Cotto to get away and settle into a different area.
Well, you mentioned he gets tougher as it goes along, guys, and this is what we're seeing from Margarito.
True to form.
I mean, he's just, he's ironclad is what this guy is. And that's why he's in this opportunity.
His MO is hit me with all you've got, because at the end I'm going to still keep coming, and we're seeing that 8 rounds in as another headbutt there. Kenny Bayless makes sure nobody is the worse for wear. What a great battle. Mexico-Puerto Rico never disappoints.
It is a classic so far. I do believe, Dave, that Cotto has come back from the damage that was on him. He's showing good movement, looks clear, legs look good.
He's gotten himself back into it that way, and we could be settling ourselves down for a 4-round sprint to the wire.
Big difference now. His right arm is up near his chin because it was a left hook to the jaw that hurt him. So he's got his right hand up there, and now Margarito can work over the top.
Margarito sprinting towards Cotto.
Nice uppercut.
To see a guy coming at you every second for 8 rounds.
Relentless.
You figure that at some point in there will be a break. If you're Cotto, you think at some point you can get the offense back, but he has been in reaction mode all night.
He just got hit with a right-handed Cotto. He got hit with a left, too. This is Margarito's office. Then he just took a left from Cotto. Think about Margarito, he never flinches.
Keeps on walking to you, and that psychologically gives Margarito a great edge.
Cotto sits down on the second rope.
Miguel Cotto dropping his hands for the first time in the fight.
He has been drilled with Margarito right on top of him.
Margarito, oh, good combination for Cotto.
But then Margarito punctuates with another right. I mean, it's never over for Margarito.
Wow. You probably got yourself a dead even fight going into the final.
76-76. Before, he could walk away and there would be no comeback from Margarito. Now Margarito is dangerous every step of the way as we come into the 9th round.
The deal is, you can't really tell with Margarito if he's getting hurt. It just doesn't seem to matter.
You took the words right out of my mouth. Even if he is, it doesn't even matter because he's going to keep coming towards you.
Now, the difference as we head down the stretch is, can Cotto find a second win? Because the way he fought the last 2 rounds, that style will defeat him. He must, if he's going to try and counter Margarito, he needs to make a statement soon that it's back to the business of before.
And the difference now in Cotto's movement is now he's moving to escape Margarito. Before, he was moving to set him up coming in.
Good point.
He's not setting traps, it's the getaway car.
Exactly.
But he's had a little bit of success in this round on Margarito coming in.
The other difference is when Margarito's coming in, he's coming in with guns a-blazing. Before, he was coming in, set up, and letting Cotto take the initiative.
I tell you what, guys, I think that one of the key points so far, Dave, was one you made about the aggressive nature and how the judges look at it. Because Margarito hasn't been slowed one bit from what he's going to do.
Beautiful body work by Margarito here.
And when Cotto was doing well countering, he probably got those rounds on the cards. But if he's not showing Margarito up, just the fact that Margarito is coming to him makes him look to be like the stylistic winner, and he'll get the rounds.
Cotto having trouble breathing, obviously, with all the blood in his nose and spitting blood from his mouth.
The body shots don't help either.
Hey, there's been some starch taken out of Cotto's sails for sure. Crowd chanting Margarito.
Another headbutt there by Cotto, and Margarito not in the least bit bothered.
Final minute of round 9. This fight has flown by. If you blinked, you missed something. Cotto back to the defensive style. None of those punches from Margarito really landed.
Margarito no digging to the body. Beautiful shot there to the ribs. And Cotto's mouth completely open. And every time he gets a chance, he spits blood out of his mouth. What heart both guys have really shown. Margarito, the initial part of the fight, taking the shots, walking in, and now Cotto with his back to the ropes.
He's taking a lot and still coming back and showing why he came in undefeated.
There's his left hand over the top.
And now we know why nobody wanted a piece of Margarito for the longest time. When Cotto was moving and catching him coming in, that was the fight that really went in favor of the Puerto Rican champion.
Nice jab there from Cotto starting the 10th round. And was not unexpected that if you let Margarito do what he wants to do, which is pressure, he'd get stronger. We've seen it before. Because we don't know who that guy was against Williams, but that doesn't matter right now.
It sure doesn't. The guy who's in there against Cotto is giving him all he can handle.
And for Cotto, this is something where he'll have to come up with some other plan.
He's going to have to.
Because going back to the ropes now, you have to dominate your opponent to get the rounds when you're continually backing up. And he's not doing it now.
A little bit of swelling over the left eye by Margarito, but like we were saying, he's got the skin that's perfect for a boxer. And it's been a problem for Cotto, breathing and a lot of blood. I mean, he's if he manages to win this fight, he will be he'll be hurting for a while.
Both of these guys, it's, you know, remember Lupe Pintor. You know, back in the day, he and I think it was Gomez or Benitez just went at it with everything, and that's what these two are doing.
That's good work there from Cotto. Back to what we were seeing earlier there, Dave.
The movement and the jab.
And the jab.
He has to catch Margarito switching And he has to catch him between tracks as he did there.
Left hand.
But now, whereas before Cotto could sit and wait for opportunities, now he must move to set up opportunities.
Beautiful shot to the body by Margarito. 2 shots to the jaw, doesn't even move to
Cotto.
tornado.
Cotto's he's come back in this round though, landing the more effective punches and doing what he has to do and trying to turn this around in his favor in the later rounds.
Oh,
nice combination there.
it's a war of attrition between these 2 fighters. Margarito looks a little more fresh than Cotto, but Cotto has caught a second win here in the 10th round.
Well, this is when you're Cotto, you're 32-0, and you know that there's something special you can dig down and try to find. And he is trying to find it right now. That's what top fighters do.
Oh, he just got tagged there with the right hand. And if you're going to be, especially if you're going to be a great or legendary fighter, this is where you find out.
He's hurt once again.
Yes, he's hurt badly right here. Try to stay awake.
Oh, the uppercut by Margarito nailed him too.
Cotto's wobbly, a lot of blood from his mouth. Margarito wearing him down. Wow, did he steal that round at the end, guys, with the harder punch?
I think he
Most
did.
definitely. The clock was his best ally at the end of the 10th round.
He may not have enough time left with 2 rounds left. We're going to the 11th right now.
If Margarito is smart, he lands a left hook to the body because Cotto's protecting the head, and then brings that right hand down, and he can finish him with a left hook up top.
Cotto trying to counter. Boy, this is one of those grinder fights, isn't it, guys?
You know, never a backward step here, never a round off.
No.
Cotto's right eye underneath the eye.
Good combination to the head for Cotto. Hadn't seen that in a while, but here comes Margarito like, so what?
Cotto still had to rely on Margarito to make an opening for him to drill him.
You mentioned, Dave, it's time for the great ones to dig down. If Cotto's going to keep that undefeated record intact and become a legend, this is the moment.
And every time he tries to dig down, and he is trying, Margarito steps it up a level.
And when he puts his butt on the second rope, that's when Margarito tees off.
Cotto in defensive position. Blood all over the gloves. Down goes Cotto. Down goes Cotto from just the wear and tear of the constant pressure. Blood streaming from his face.
Incredible action here at the MGM Grand. Antonio Margarito close to making his dream come true.
Cotto's
done.
wobbly. Cotto is wobbly. Can Margarito finish it? Yes, Cotto's going down. Cotto, just his only thing keeping him up now is his heart.
And Kenny Bayless could have called that a knockdown because he was basically saying, I'm done, I'm done.
There, he may do it now.
He may do it now. Cotto's in big trouble. They're going to wave it off. His uncle had seen enough. Cotto's corner waves it off. The underdog prevails.
3-1.
Here's one for all you grinders out there.
And how about this? You know what the over-under was? 10.5 rounds.
You didn't tell me that before.
30 seconds away from being exact. They know how to put the odds here.
That's how they make the money. What an incredible fight. You cannot take a thing away from Antonio Margarito for a straight, just a pure fighter. Just a pure fighting standpoint. But most of the fighters I talked to, interestingly, Dave, coming in, thought Margarito would win the fight.
And here he comes again. That's the knockdown there after Cotto takes the knee. And he was an underdog against Cintron, too, in the rematch. And the boxing people were shaking their heads. Unbelievable conditioning.
Michael Buffer now.
Ladies and gentlemen, the end comes at 2 minutes, 5 seconds. Round number 11, the winner by TKO victory. Now, a 3-time welterweight champion of the world, the Tijuana Tornado, Antonio Margarito.
How about that?
Julio Cesar Chavez is a happy man. And Margarito was up 2 points on the two cards, and one was even.
One was even.
And this was making a strong statement since Cotto had won the early round.
Steve, I talked about how the crowd is electrified. I'm electrified. I get the goosebumps standing up on the back of my neck. How about you?
Sold out Madison Square Garden. Colonel, it doesn't get any better than this.
Man, I could relate to this, man. I've been in that position. I could understand what Cotto's going through right now, and this fight means so much for him.
All right. Final instructions. Here are the rules. Unified rules of boxing. 10-point must-scoring system. No standing 8 count. No 3 knockdown rules. Fighter cannot be saved by the bell in any round. Only the referee can stop the fight. If we get any accidental fouls, we'll explain that to you if it becomes pertinent during the course of the fight. In the red trunks with the green and white trim, the colors of the flag of Mexico, Mexico's Antonio Margarito, and decked out in the blue, white, and gold, Miguel Cotto, the pride of Caguas in Puerto Rico.
And Colonel, the 2 early questions for me. A, does the emotion that has been overflowing affect either fighter? Margarito looks awfully cool. I don't think it's going to affect him. And secondly, does Margarito's right eye become a factor at any point in the fight?
Well, I think that's a more possibility. I don't think either one of these guys will be shaken by the crowd. Cotto has drawn huge crowds here before. Margarito was on the big stage when he fought Pacquiao. But in that fight, I thought at the end of the fight, and this is his first fight back since then because of the orbital eye injury, would he ever be the same again? And so we have to find that out tonight. These guys do not like each other. Cotto called Margarito a liar. Margarito said in terms of the hand wraps that, he didn't have his hands juiced up, but none of that's important right now. They're in there right now under more highly scrutinized hands than anybody in the history of boxing, and this is round 1 in Madison Square Garden. Juan, you've been in this position before coming into Madison Square Garden to fight. What's in the mind of these fighters right now, sort of feeling each other out in the early going?
Well, right now, I guess Cotto is trying to see what Margarito has, and his power, really, because he didn't know, from the last time that he had that, whatever that he had in his glove or in his rack. But right now, Cotto is being smart. I think he's being too careful. If I was him, I wouldn't show Margarito no respect at all. I would have jumped all over him and this is my time of redemption. This is my time to pay you back for what you did to me.
All right, the words of the former featherweight champion of the world, Juan Laporte. Both guys exchanging shots here in the opening round. There was some talk earlier that Margarito would take his time because his cornerman, Robert Garcia, was working the previous fight, but he came out right on time as scheduled. So all the pre-fight hype is done. But I'll tell you this, anytime Cotto does anything, the crowd reaction here, which is impossible to explain to you, just like that, they really, really make it exciting.
Well, they've had reason to be happy so far because Cotto's boxing very well. Early in his career, we thought of him as a left hooker. Tonight, his jab is getting off, and he's landing his right hand.
What I don't like too much is the jumping movement. How long can you do this? The fight is going to be 12 rounds.
Right.
You need to save some energy. So, I'm just curious about what Cotto's thinking right now.
It's a good point because in the first fight, Cotto boxed very well, just like this, for 5 rounds, and then he got overwhelmed.
Well, Margarito, it can be an intimidating guy. We talked about him training in that altitude in Mexico City, so he can go 12 rounds. And he was outside of Mexico City in the mountains at 14,000 feet. The bell ends round number 1. What do you say, guys? Not a lot between them there.
Well, I think that was clearly Cotto's round.
All right, we get ready to go to round number 2. Margarito decked out in the red, green, and white. Miguel Cotto in the blue trunks. Remember in that last fight, in spite of all the talk of the hand wrap, Margarito did win the fight. So Cotto has something to prove here. Margarito feels he does too. He wants to beat him up just as bad so he can say definitively, I told you there's nothing in those gloves. Steve Smolder says, Keep the hands up, guys. Crowd doesn't like any interruption in this fight. Predominantly Puerto Rican crowd here for Miguel Cotto.
And interesting, the first punch Margarito threw after that warning for Cotto for punching low was a left hand to the body. Remember, Cotto with a new trainer, Pedro Diaz, first time with him, replacing Emmanuel Stewart.
That's right. Of course, Pedro is a very famous Cuban trainer that trained a lot of great fighters, so this is something new. And we asked Cotto about that yesterday. Emmanuel Stewart was sitting there and he said, nothing personal at all. I'm still friends with Manny. I didn't want to go to Detroit to train. Look at this.
This is what I was talking about. When Cotto he hits you with 2 shots, why not hit you with 4 or 5? Why stop? Every time he hits Margarito with 2 shots, he looks back to look pretty.
Well, one, Margarito's got a good rep as a guy that can take punishment. So I don't think he thinks he's going to blow him out in 2-3 rounds.
There's the head in the face of Margarito. And that'll happen from time to time in this fight because of the difference in height. Remember, Margarito's 3 inches taller than Cotto.
Cotto's clearly trying to box in a little bit of a circle. Margarito has trouble with moving targets.
And that's why Pedro Luis has him moving.
That's good, man.
Nice
good
combination there, yeah.
That's what he has to do all night. That's all. Throw a couple of combinations like that and move if you're going to move.
Move to the side, right? He's getting out. He's not getting hit.
He's landing clear shots in his Margarito through the first round and into the second round. There's a nice combination there. You wanted a bunch of punches, Juan Laborte. You got him there.
So tell him to throw some more.
Couple of uppercuts on the inside, not real damage done. Looping right hand by Margarito. Right back comes Cotto with his quick 2-punch combination, and then back he goes. Margarito to the left of your screen in red with the red shoes, the big tall guy. Tattoos on his chest and on his back. Margarito with that fancy tattoo on his right side and on his left shoulder. Cotto tries to jab, and then nice slip move there as he pushes him by. He goes by him and tries to reset himself up again. Kind of a heavy blow on the inside there. They caught Cotto to the solar plexus.
Good right hand by Margarito, his best punch of the fight, but not his best round.
All right, here we go. This is round 3. Scheduled, of course, for the championship number of rounds, 12. Again, in the red trunks, it's Antonio Margarito from Mexico, wearing the colors of the Mexican flag, and Miguel Cotto decked out in the blue and yellow. By the way, Cotto is 16-2 in world championship fights. He's had 157 championship rounds. Only losses.
A cut. Yes. Right eye of Margarito.
Margarito cut already. Was that a punch?
Yes.
I believe so. I didn't see the butt.
Didn't see the heads come together either.
But it's specifically important because it's the right eye.
Yeah, and don't forget, up until a week ago, the New York State Athletic Commission didn't sanction Cotto because of the problem with his right orbital bone that was operated on after the Pacquiao fight. And it's cut already. They had all kinds of eye doctors and experts check him over to make sure he was clean to fight. And he's already cut by that right eye, and he's almost squinting down. So Margarito has suffered something that Cotto wanted him to suffer early in this fight, and it happened early in the 3rd round.
Well, if you're rooting for Margarito, you're hoping he comes on in the second half. But if Cotto does enough damage in the first half, there won't be a rally. And damage to that eye, well, the corner, the doctors are going to be very, very concerned about that.
Well, with all the discussions and everything that went on with the New York State Athletic Commission, they're not going to let this guy lose an eye in this fight. This is Margarito trying to battle back. Cotto tries to keep the pressure on him, and this is what they came for. Back and forth, they seesaw back and forth, both guys.
He hurt Margarito with the left hook.
Cotto just sharper with his punches and more powerful with his punches.
Much more powerful. He spun the head that time with the left hook. Margarito shakes his head no, but that's his style to do that. Another left hook. Right hand on top of that left eye. Hooks up around the right eye. Things are going very well for Cotto right now. Cotto doing a nice job with Evander Holyfield used to say, parrying punches, pushing them off with the back of his hands. Margarito tries to hold inside. They only try to land something inside, but look who gets off first with the heavier blows. Again, it's Cotto. Cotto doing a great job, sliding to his left, now back to his right, trying to set things up, trying to take away the vision of that left eye with his left hand, and then he drops the right hand on top of it.
Very disciplined performance by Cotto.
It's a good turn, too. I like that. Very disciplined. Not letting the crowd go to his head right now. All right, here we go. This is round 4. So, cut by the right eye of Margarito, and that's the bad eye of Margarito, the one that had the broken orbital bone. And this Cotto, he'll be gunning for that. You can be sure he starts right away with 2 snapping lefts right on top of it in the start of the 4th round.
Margarito smiling throughout this carnage. Keep in mind how much punishment he took when Pacquiao beat him up. He can take a lot of shots.
And he can take a lot of punishments for sure. There's a right hand on top of the right eye. Margarito keeps shaking his head. No, no, no. He better answer with his fists instead of his grin.
That's right. No, no, no in boxing. When you shake your head, it means yes, yes, yes. The punch landed.
His face already looks kind of messy. You talked about a disciplined fight, Steve. That's a great comment because that's exactly what Cotto's doing. He's not letting this prohibitive crowd that's with him take him out of his fight plan to outbox this guy.
Great point.
And all of that aggressiveness there by Margarito, nothing significantly landed.
Cotto refuses to be pinned against the ropes.
And that's smart for him. He doesn't want to get caught up against the ropes against this wild man. And Margarito likes to hurt opponents. And he can. He landed a pretty good right hand that time. Cotto doing a nice job parrying again with these punches. He has those gloves up high, and he's blocking a lot of stuff that Margarito's throwing. Watch that head. If I'm Margarito, I don't want that head bouncing around any place near that right eye. But the left hooks do more damage.
That looks like the old Miguel Cotto, that left hook.
Yeah, that's the one he should be throwing.
And here comes Margarito, Colonel.
Now, there's no quitting this guy. There's no question about it. Look at these. There's a combination of the 4 punches that Juan Laporte likes off the hands of Miguel Cotto. Cotto so far, in my opinion, fighting the perfect disciplined fight.
I agree. But remember, in terms of the length of this fight, Margarito knows that last time he fought Cotto, he lost 5 rounds, and he still won the fight.
That's right.
He has that confidence that only a victory can give you.
But since then, and the question coming into this fight, when you take a beating like he took from Pacquiao, are you ever the same?
Right.
And a lot of that has to do with this fight. His attitude is the same. His training discipline is the same. But he's not having a very good fight right now. But all that can change with one big shot. Because this guy will not quit, that's for sure. Cotto will either beat him to submission, hurt his eye where it has to be stopped, or knock him out. It's the only way he's going up. One of those 3 ways. In other words, he's going out in his shield.
Right.
Just the 4th round and a lot of action in this fight. The crowd absolutely loves it here in Madison Square Garden. That ends the 4th. All right, we're getting ready to go to the 5th round of a scheduled 12-round affair. At stake, the WBA Super Welterweight Championship of the World, the 154-pound division, or the junior middleweight division, 154. Reigning champ Miguel Cotto. Don't forget Antonio Margarito is a 3-time world champ in his own right. Double jab. Cotto won the title back after he lost to Margarito. His only losses were to Margarito back in July of 08. In November of 09, he was stopped by Manny Pacquiao in the 12th round. In June of 10, he beat Yuri Foreman a 9th round TKO. In March this year, defended that title that he won that night against Ricardo Mayorga. Every time Cotto does anything, the crowd almost comes to they come to a thrilling cheer. I don't know how else to describe it.
They love what they've seen so far. Cotto's backing up here, but he's backing up with lateral movement.
Just as you mentioned that, he does exactly what you said with the lateral movement as he slid back to his right. Backing up, backing up. He'll set himself, though. Now, that time he tried to go by him and push him by, which is a slick boxing move. Caught him on top of that left eye again. It's the right eye that's the problem eye for Margarito. He was cut back in the 3rd round. We're in the 5th. Midway point, Cotto lands a combination. Margarito keeps saying, no, no. You got to answer with your fist, my friend.
Remember, in the pre-fight hype, Margarito was telling Cotto, you hit like a girl. I wonder if he still feels that way.
I doubt it. But, you know, he's still trying to play the head game.
Yeah.
But, you know, I want to ask you about that one, Laporte. Once the fight starts, I know when I played ball, I wasn't a boxer, but when I played ball, once the game started, all the rest of the stuff didn't matter anymore.
Nah, man. Well, once you're in there, I mean, everything changes. It's up to you what you want to do. If Cotto, you know, feels all the confidence in the world that he could take this guy, he could do it. But, that, you know, right now, I don't know what he's thinking. He hurts him, and he don't jump on top of him. I mean, it's only, you know, you got an advantage when you hurt somebody to take him out. Do it, because you don't know what's going to happen in the next round.
You want to see Gotti and Ward every round of every fight.
I want to see, you know, what you feel. It's just what I feel inside.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's why we have you here from the champ's perspective. Steve and I love the sport. We've been around a long time. We know a lot of the fighters. We know a lot about the game. But we haven't been in the ring. For real, anyway.
And the fans are thankful for that.
Exactly.
Well, you can see Margarito's face. He's getting a little frustrated.
He's frustrated. He tries to get that jab out, loads up the right hand again. Cotto ducks underneath him, and that ends the 5th round. Another Cotto round. Although I thought Margarito boxed better in that round.
Yeah, it was a closer round, but still Cotto's round.
This is round 6, Madison Square Garden, New York City. Colonel Bob Sheridan here with Steve Farhad and Juan Laporte. Hope wherever you're watching around the world that you're enjoying it. Sunday afternoon down there in New Zealand. My old pal Georgie Calvert tuned in, I know that, and all the boxing boys. Margarito and Cotto. Margarito in the red, trying to do something more offensively against this guy. We're into the 6th round now, and I've given Cotto every round. Cotto whacks him again with that left hand on top of that right eye. The right eye was cut of Margarito back in the 3rd round, but the corner's done an excellent job closing it out.
And if Cotto's effective with that jab, that right eye is where the jab will land.
And that'll wear that eye down as the rounds continue to slip by in each minute in every round. You see that? There was another jab right on top of it that time. Margarito doesn't seem that concerned about it because he's not holding his right hand up as high as what you'd think he would be doing. That time the heads came dangerously close together of Cotto bouncing that head off of that right eye of Margarito. Dangerously close. Steve Smolder lets him fight on the inside, which is good.
That's no good for Cotto right there because he's unable, you know, to get a hit with an uppercut.
Well, you heard what the corner had to say in between rounds. Throw 3 or 4 uppercuts in a row. And I'm sure that's what Margarito would like to execute. Remember, last round was pretty close, and this round's fairly close. Those are 2 clean shots by Cotto. But Margarito's landed his share of punches. Both of these guys throw more punches per round than 30% of the guys in this 154-pound division. And there's a lot of good fighters in the 154-pound rankings. And these guys throw 30% more punches per round. And they haven't stopped throwing punches.
Margarito is getting closer. Is that reason for concern for Cotto?
Look at him use that head a little bit, this Cotto. He missed his shots, although the crowd came to its feet.
With the blood, and you see, the thing is that Cotto is lipped. He's always had his mouth open, you know, even when he punches. When you take a punch, I used to bite into my mouthpiece. I used to close my mouth and bite into the mouthpiece.
Yeah, and when you have that mouth open, what you're saying is not only do you feel the punch more, but you could get a broken jaw. And you certainly, if you're not bitten right down in that mouthpiece, you're going to feel it a lot more. And Cotto's mouth is open. The uppercuts have been the most successful punches for Margarito. Margarito may have got this round in some judges' scorecards. I'm leaning that way. What do you think, guys? You still like Cotto?
I still like Cotto, but I'd say that's the closest round of the fight.
The corner, Margarito continually telling him to keep coming with that uppercut. Use it 4, 5, 6 times in a row if you can. But when you're in the inside, let it fly. This is round 7, scheduled for 12, World Championship.
He's starting to use the uppercut again.
You know, they're telling him contrasting things. I hear him over there telling him to jab, and in between rounds, they come with the uppercut. Well, maybe jab, jab, and then the uppercut. There's the jab. But again, like Juan Laporte, you like the double jab and the uppercut, huh?
Yeah, no, I'd like to throw double jab, right hand, uppercut, whatever, but always finish up with that left hook.
And the left hook, if nothing else, brings you back on balance, right?
Jab, jab, right hand, left uppercut.
That was a good left uppercut by Margarito. Maybe his best punch of the fight.
But, you know, Margarito's going to start gaining some what do you call confidence, because I mean, Cotto just moving around.
And you wonder what else he's saying to him. If what did you say he said to him about his punches? He hits like a girl.
Yeah.
You wonder if he said that to him. I wouldn't be saying that. I wouldn't get the guy any more furious at me than he already is. Cotto doing a great job sliding around and pushing the man by him and getting back in position to throw punches.
Cotto's mouth open now, too. It's hard to tell whether his bottom lip is shredded or not. I think there's some blood.
Well, of course, the work rate has been furious. These guys haven't stopped punching for, I mean, even 2 seconds during the course of this fight. One guy is always throwing. Look at this. Back and forth they go. Cotto moves to his back now, skips away, but sets up and plants a punch. Got a great foot movement. Continues to circle to his left, then he plants and goes around to the right, but he didn't throw. There's the jab. One jab, no right hand behind it, no left hook.
I give Cotto a lot of credit for being able to fight like this, because let's face it, when he started, he was a left hook pressure fighter.
Oh, yeah.
This is kind of an impressive transformation, almost similar to what Marco Antonio Barrera did, becoming more of a boxer later in his career.
Well, this is great boxing by Cotto right now. Margarito trying to mix it up on the inside. Cotto spins him around, gets him
right there. You should start working right there.
Where's the left hook?
Don't wait for the uppercut. Throw.
Well, he did finally. Is that right eye closing up again?
It's swollen above for sure.
Don't forget, I mentioned at the outset that Margarito trained in that thin air, so he's got plenty of conditioning to go the full 12 rounds of this fight. I think the head bounced off his chin that time of Miguel Cotto. And there's one right at the bell, and Margarito just a little bit of disgusted look on his face, but nothing too much. All right, here we go to round number 8. We're in agreement about 90% of the time, so that's good, because the judges don't always agree. Why should we?
Right.
As a matter of fact, I go to the conventions, and 50% of the judges disagree. 50% on the close 10-9 round. So.
Okay, now's when he should use whatever. He's got the one eye.
He's got one eye. He's got to really turn it up a notch now, and if anyone can do it, he can. But that eye's a real problem right now. Cotto bounces back, trying to line up the left hook, and he gets it in there. Every time he touches it, even that shot there, grazing by, does damage to that eye.
And very smart of Cotto to keep moving to his left, because that's the side that Margarito can't see. Move to your left, throw jabs and left hooks. It's not the time for right hands now.
No, just keep moving to your left. He dances around, takes a quick shuffle step into the left with the left hook. Steve Smoger looking at the eye, and you can be sure that he's been told to make sure that that eye is okay.
And just to remind the viewers, Margarito's orbital bone on the right side was broke by Pacquiao.
Time has been called. Let's see what this is about.
Tape.
Tape on the glove.
Robert Garcia frantically calling for uppercuts from Margarito. And there was a lens put in to Margarito's right eye as well. So that right eye has been very seriously damaged.
Yet he was cleared by all kinds of ophthalmologists. All right, time back in. Here we go as the 8th round continues. Cotto to this point has been doing a pretty good job outboxing Antonio Margarito. Margarito has damage to his eye that started back in the 3rd round. There's no quitting Margarito whatsoever. This guy is here to fight. Shuffling back and forth. Sneaky right hand lead that time by Miguel Cotto. Miguel, to me, couldn't be fighting a better fight, I don't think.
I'm with you.
I caught him with a good left hook again on top of that eye. And from now on, you're going to see the doctors in every round checking Margarito. Because he can't see out of it, Steve.
I agree. In the corner, it looked like there was not even a slit of an opening.
8th round, a long way to go in a championship fight with a guy with an eye that damaged. And an opponent in Cotto that's really boxing terrifically tonight. This is a wonderful, wonderful exhibition of the best of championship boxing.
First time these two fought, Margarito stopped Cotto in the 11th, but by this point in that fight, by the 8th round, Margarito had already done a lot of damage. He has not done that kind of damage.
No, there's virtually no damage to the face of Miguel Cotto, yeah. I mean, and in that fight, he was just beaten to a pulp by this stage in his face anyway.
Oh, you can see the difference of the gloves?
Maybe. That's what they're going to say. You know that, because it's not the same Margarito that fought him before. But again, I keep going back to the
Pacquiao?
Yeah, the lacing that he took from Pacquiao. I don't know how he could ever be as good. But he's game, I'll tell you that. Closing seconds of the 8th round. Cotto's just outboxed him here in the 8th, doing just what he has to do. Crowd loves it, listen.
Definitely.
They may be stopping this fight. I don't know. Doctor doesn't like what he sees. No, he says okay. But it's coming dangerously close as the extra time was given while the doctor examined that eye. This is round 9. And Cotto, all he has to do is continue to keep touching that eye up. And he does. Left hand, right hands. And you're right, Steve. Just keep circling to the left. Just stay on top of that. Left hooks, right hand straight down the middle on top of that eye. Nice uppercut.
They heard him too.
And Margarito lets out a scream of seemingly delight for getting hit. He's one tough guy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's going to battle until you got to kill him in there.
Yeah, shoot him, yeah.
Well, Pacquiao almost did. And if he couldn't...
Well, Pacquiao throws like 50 punches. You know.
I'm not sure what the fans would like more. More of this because Cotto's beating Margarito up, or just stop it right now?
I don't think they want to stop the fight. They want to see Cotto.
They want to see
it go
suffer.
away. Yeah.
Well, if this place may shake through drafters if Cotto scores a stoppage.
Oh yeah,
a referee-induced stoppage. I mean.
Yeah, I don't want to see the doctor stop the fight. Steve Smoke has been around a long time. He's done over 150 world title fights himself, so he'll know when it's time to stop the fight. But if the doctor says that's it, that'll be it. They say only the referee can stop a fight, but I've never heard a referee overrule a doctor.
No.
So it's academic. In some states, the doctor has, in fact, in California, they can stop the fight. You were there last night. Look at that combination of punches by Miguel Cotto. And I swear, Steve, that if he keeps coming to the left, that Margarito really can't see out of that right eye at all anymore. Skips forward. Landing a few shots, but he doesn't have the zip in his punches anymore either. Now look at this stuff. Oh, Cotto caught him in a nice left hook. 2 left hooks on top of that eye again. Wow! How much more can this guy take? Which I said about 20 times when he fought Pacquiao.
Well, when you got a bionic eye, you can take some whooping.
Right now, that bionic eye is closed. Oh! Snapped his head back with a nice stiff jab. Cotto fighting the perfect fight. Outboxing this guy. Hitting him with the heaviest shots. Showing nice defense with his hands high. Walking him back on his heels so he can't be hurt. Doing everything technically you have to do. And that slick move that he's done where he pulls him and walks by him, love it.
And he's kept his cool, too. You can get overexcited against the guy you hit so easily and go for a KO when you shouldn't. He never did that.
I'd say he's trying to go for him right now. In the very closing seconds of the 9th round, though, and Margarito, when he hears the crowd, he actually gets an adrenaline flow.
Yeah, good right hand by Margarito there. A good comeback punch.
That ends the 9th, and the doctors will go in again. Antonio right up off the stool. He's not going to let the doctors stop the fight.
They're begging for one more round, Colonel.
Yeah, they are. I think the doctor wants to stop it, and they are begging for one more round. The bell is sounded. If the doctor tells Steve Smoger to stop the fight is stopped. Time has been called. Got to see what Steve hears from the doctors.
Well, the doctors have left the ring.
Stop it. That's it. I got it.
They're saying that's
Barry
it.
Jordan said no.
No, they're saying no more. I'm not going to let you take any more punishment. Barry Jordan, the doctor, said no, and he just gave the slash to the throat sign. No, that's it. You're done. This fight, I think, is over, folks.
We want to see a definitive sign from Smoger.
Another doctor talking away there, and Smoger just as informed.
It's over.
It's all over. The fight is ended. Margarito's eye in the long run didn't hold up. Couldn't answer the bell for the 10th round, and the doctor said no anyway. He could have actually answered the bell, but the doctor said no. And you want to know something? Considering what the score is, I've got it 89-79. The doctors actually did the right thing.
No argument for me.
We all would have loved to see it go and see a knockout, see the guy stop, have the referee stop the fight. Maybe they could have done it that way, but remember what I said, the safety of the fighter is paramount.
So the revenge is done, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's done.
You know,
After 10 rounds,
listen to
the
Michael
winner
Buck.
by TKO victory. And still, WBA Super Welterweight Champion of the World, El Boricua de Puerto Rico, Miguel Cotto.
So officially, it was a TKO at the beginning of the 10th round. Miguel Cotto retains the WBA Super Welterweight Championship of the World.